Apple, no, 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 no.
Get daily tech news in a way that doesn't suck. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Front Page Tech. Of course, show that gives you all latest tech news from one geek, that is me, to another, that is you. Happy Thursday. Hey, if you just hate Apple and you just love seeing them fuck up, this is the episode for you. All right, so story numero uno is actually an update to something that we covered last week. This story is not about Apple. In fact, it's about the opposite, pretty much. Google. Today, Google employees worldwide walked out in protest. Now, they did this. They refused to work. They walked out in protest to show their disapproval of how Google has handled a bunch of scandals internally involving, sexual assault. Really, sexual harassment, sexual assault, it's kind of all over the place. If you missed it and somehow you're not caught up, we're talking Andy Rubin, a bunch of other high-ranking officials within Google, as well as in total the last 2 years, Google apparently fired 48 people because of this. So I don't really care what you think. Google obviously has a sexual harassment problem, and the workers, the employees, obviously seem to think the same. If you missed our episode where we covered this story, I'll link it down in the description below. Warning though, a lot of language. A lot of uncensored language. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's gonna be a long time before I can trust Google again. To those people that walked out today in protest and refused to work to hopefully send a statement to Google, for what it's worth, we support you here at Front Page Tech. Also, Google. Okay, now on to the Apple stuff for the rest of the show. Apple today had their fourth quarter earnings call and didn't go well. So real quick, to summarize, Apple is not in trouble. They're doing extremely well as usual. But they did not ship as many iPhones as was originally estimated. So they did miss expectations by a little bit. Now, even though they missed the mark on like individual units shipped, they're still fine in terms of money. They did pretty much what they did last year. Since the prices of iPhones have increased, the average sales price for an iPhone has increased, they are still making money. They're still making a lot of money, even if the sales are declining a little bit. Now, this does not include the iPhone XR. That's the one that we're all really interested in. We want to see how much of a powerhouse that phone is. I mean, you guys on this show have heard me say before that I believe the iPhone XR a year from now will have sold 100 million units. But it turns out we probably won't know. You see, on the earnings call, Apple then proceeded to say that starting next quarter, they will no longer disclose individual sale numbers for iPhone, iPad, or Mac. Instead, those three main product lines will be wrapped into one revenue figure that will then be reported on the next sales call. So they will disclose how much money, how much revenue they made, but we won't know how many individual units were shipped and how much they made off of each individual category like that. And the second they did that, the stock plummeted. Like, they dropped below that $1 trillion market cap that they hit a couple months ago. Now, this literally just happened like right before I filmed this. I'm sure by the time it goes out, it'll be a little bit better and they'll definitely recover. But obviously, this is a big deal. What a stupid fucking thing to do on the phone, on a sales call, on an earnings call, in front of your investors. Like, here's the thing. If there's one company that's gonna do this and be secretive about how many units they ship, it's gonna be Apple. So it makes sense that it is Apple in this case, but it's still really, really dumb. I mean, it's pretty convenient, wouldn't you say? The fact that we'll always get that revenue number, the number that conveniently keeps going up, but we won't know how many units they shipped and how successful the phone was, or the iPad was, or the Mac was. We won't know those numbers. Kinda shitty, huh? Apple? To me, this is like you went out at a bar one night, all right? You met a lady. You come back home to your wife, and your wife is like, hey, did you sleep with that girl? And then you're like, yeah, I'm not I have decided I'm not going to disclose that anymore. Okay, last up, we saved the best for last, yet another Apple did something shitty story. Remember earlier in the year when we found out that Apple was in fact slowing down older iPhones? They definitely weren't doing it to make you feel like your iPhone slowed down, that you needed to upgrade, that you needed to buy the new iPhone. This was not planned obsolescence. No way, no how. Apple's excuse, at least what they told consumers, was, hey, slow down. We're actually looking out for you. They said that they throttle your phone to preserve the life of your battery. The idea is the hardware of your device degrades over time, specifically your battery. So to try to preserve that battery and make it last even longer so you can keep your iPhone even longer, they throttle CPU performance as to not, make the battery's life too hard. Now, I personally have never heard such a convenient, smooth as excuse as that one. I'm sure there's some truth in it, but it's also a convenient way for Apple to slow down your old iPhone. But they were caught, we called them on it, and they fixed it, right? Doing it again. As you know, iOS 12.1 rolled out a couple days ago, and guess what it has? iOS 12.1 comes out with the beautiful power management feature. This time for the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and iPhone 10. These motherfuckers are already throttling the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and iPhone 10, and they are only a year old. This is definitely to protect you, the consumer. We want you to be able to keep your iPhones for as long as possible, so we are going to preserve your battery by throttling the out of your phone. Now, of course, you can toggle this feature off, so to be fair, I have to mention that part. But the average person isn't gonna fucking know. The average person is not watching this show. The average person does not know what that feature is, what it's supposed to do, and that they can toggle it off. They have no idea. So to them, in some cases, their iPhones are just slower. Because it's old. It's only a year old, but it must be old enough that I need the new one. I just have to have the new one because this one is slow as a
What's your profanity?
Right, I'm sorry.
Like, come on, Apple. Here's the thing. You make great devices. You make solid hardware, and they last for years. There's no reason to do this unless you want people to buy the new phone. Well, I already got the new one, so I don't care.
And now, today's sponsor.
Hey, buddy, I don't know if you know this, but it's 2018. And if you're trying to build an online presence for yourself, but don't have your own website, you are doing it wrong. But do not fret, my lovely. Bookmark is here to help. With literally the most intuitive website builder I have ever seen, Bookmark can have a professional or e-commerce ready website built for you in less than 2 minutes. And it does all of this with Ada, your artificial intelligence design assistant, all without having to write a single line of code yourself. Ada can easily create optimized websites for over 750 business types. And other than creating gorgeous websites all day, Bookmark has your back even after your site is built. You don't need to know anything about coding, and you certainly do not need to spend a fortune on some designer somewhere. If you're ready to work smart and not hard, check out the link for Bookmark today down in the description. Get started. And of course, huge thanks to Bookmark for supporting our show. And that's the show. Hopefully you liked it. You learned something. If you did, hit that like button. If you hate my stupid face, hit the dislike button. If you're new here, subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.